got a news update about Thomas Sithole's incident, accident, murder, whatever you want to call it nowadays. It's some kind of crime. Anyway, thank you Jessica for your comment, and here's a reply to you and response to it. You said, yeah, they waited until the next day to call his parents. So that is somewhat true, not true. I wouldn't say it's true, but it could be true. Anyway, one of the parents said to the news report that they tried to communicate with the family after the incident, not a day later, and they couldn't get hold of them, supposedly. Obviously that can be a blatant lie. They lie in faces of people, of the media. That's quite bad. And then next thing is the skipper. The skipper said 25 minutes after the incident, after he did a head count of every child that was on the boat, they figured out a boy missing, and that boy was Thomas. And that's when he contacted SAPS. That was 25 minutes after the incident. So if that's true, and he spoke to the news reporters like this, and SAPS are not agreeing with the statement, then I don't know, that's some kind of false shit going on there. But anyway, so then I'm thinking, why did not SAPS or something communicate with the parents of the child, like any other way of communicating? If the mother didn't try to communicate and they say she did, maybe that's why the police didn't communicate, because the mother said she did. So maybe that's why it comes out. But the sad thing is, the older sister of Thomas, was her friend told her about her own brother and what happened and the incident. So she didn't find out from actual official first-hand people. She had to go by the bird telephone, broken telephone, to find out the incident and what happened to her own brother. And that's kind of shit and wrong in a way. And then from that, she had to obviously tell the mother and everything. That is probably some traumatic way of trying to tell your mother, like, you lost a son. I don't know how. Yeah, that's just bad shit. Crazy. Anyway, moving on. You said, yeah, the skipper and the one boys had blood stains on him. Well, there's no official thing about them having blood stains, but there was something about them having blood on them. They had blood on their hands and knees somewhere. They said that. But if you're trying to cover up a crime, you're going to wash that off. So obviously you're not going to wipe it on your clothes. So I don't think about the blood stains going to be there. So if there was some foul play there, they're not going to be stupid and wipe it on themselves. So obviously the blood on the hands or something is hard to clean off properly. You need some like shit to clean that shit off. So that's why they probably couldn't clean it off properly. And that's why when the police was there, they asked them and questioned them why he got blood on his hands and stuff like that. And they just said, one of the fathers there said, I don't know how that happened, on talking kak, yeah. But anyway, I'm not gonna say any allegations or anything, because that will cause me shit now too. So I don't want to spread rumors and say no unrealistic and false information. So I'm not gonna say anything more about that. But there's something dodgy going on there. The next thing is, the boy had a life jacket on. So how could he drown with a life jacket on? Good question. And that I can't tell you because I wasn't there. But from my speculation is obviously the other boy, white boy, and another boy, because there's two boys that supposedly have blood on them. I think they had like a little fight maybe, and then he got knocked over on the head, unconscious, because later after they found his body there was a wound on the back of his head. So I'm assuming they punched him on the back of his head, besides probably punching him somewhere else, because there must have been blood, like nosebleed or something. Then he was knocked unconscious and he fell over, and from there I think he obviously knocked out. You don't know what's happening, out in the river, floating there, and there is like waves and stuff from the boat too, from the pressure and the motion of the ocean. So obviously he probably might have turned the other way around, and his body was facing towards the water. His head was facing down, even though he's floating. His head is facing down. So obviously I think he was intaking water from that angle, and that's how he probably drowned, from being unconscious, from being knocked over, and then he's unconscious and he fell into the water, face down, floating and inhaling the water. And that's how I think he drowned in the end, from how I'm perceiving the story and what they're saying on his statements. Anyway, moving forward, you said his family says he was an excellent swimmer. I don't know about that part. So how could he drown? I explained to you. Anyway, yeah, everybody has their own tales to the story. But the sad thing is, when the family members heard about their son's disappearance, they went to the Vaal River, camped there for 2 days, trying to locate where their poor son is. And obviously with the help of the police, divers and a skipper, they came out to search for Thomas. Unfortunately, the sad thing and the most weirdest thing is that he came floating by his relatives first. Even though the divers were there spending hours looking for his body, he somehow magically appeared in front of his family, saying like his final goodbyes or something. Some kind of voodoo shit there. But it's kind of like, I don't know, that's a sign something not right. But anyway, it's like he's saying his goodbyes, but not there. But his body's there, but his soul's gone. Unfortunately, sad news. So they were the first ones to actually see the body floating downstream, and obviously they told the divers there's his body and that, and they collected his body, and that's when they found the wound on the back of his head, and which I kind of interpreted what my speculation is. And besides all that, if you're a skipper and you're driving a boat, right, and you're hearing noises in the background, I know there's going to be noise of the engine and the water and everything, you don't hear much, but you can hear the shoutings, screaming, if they're fighting, if fighting going on and there's more than one. You can hear there's a crowd of people, you're able to hear the noise. And obviously, and his blood and everything, first fighting, you're going to be ow, ooh, shouts, screams, you're going to hear, I don't know, this guy's deaf or what? But anyway, I understand how would you also notice when you back that there's only a person missing. I mean, there's only 2 black guys on the boat, come on. You'll notice when one's gone, you notice there's only one left, so you must know there's someone missing. It's not, you got quick maths, 1 + 1, 2. I mean, you can notice when one guy's missing, one black guy's missing, like, and plus there wasn't even a lot of them, so that part doesn't make sense at all, but them only realizing later that he was missing, that's some bullshit story. I'm telling you, that's bullshit story. I don't have the facts or anything, I know that's straight line bullshit. Anyway, that's my updated version, and I know it's a sad news and sad time for the family. I hope some justice will be served and someone will be punished in the end about this situation. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, colored, Chinese, yellow, pink, green, yeah, whatever, two-tone. Anyway, justice is justice. That doesn't matter what the skin color you are. If you do wrong, justice must be served. Please like and subscribe.